with a few of AJ's remarks when he stood out in the ring. I think he had a good point. How come Randy hasn't been arrested? And yet they're having a go at him. Is there a point to that, Matt? Will fans actually think to themselves, actually, he's one of the hardest working wrestlers, like workers there, and some of his points are quite valid, and we don't care for Shane enough to really side with him. So is Shane really going to get that pity that they're probably after on this one?
Yeah, this is a very strange matchup they've made. We heard the rumours about this a long time ago, but praying that it wouldn't come to fruition. But now we have this match set, and I'm just, I just feel like as a fan, I'm being insulted here. I'm seeing like a guy who has been voted the best wrestler numerous years, in a promotional kind of superstar, and he comes to WWE. He has a match with Jericho, which people have been waiting to see. First WrestleMania, and everyone respected that. But then in his second WrestleMania, once he's made a name for himself, once he's become the heavyweight champion, now we're seeing him fight Shane McMahon, who just waltzed into the company after like 8 years or so of not being a part of it, and Shane is okay with this. It feels like he is of that level that he can put on a great match with AJ Styles. I mean, come on, I feel a little bit insulted by WWE that they expect me to kind of swallow that. And yeah, like you said, AJ has got a lot of respect from the fans, and if they want to portray him as a heel, that's fine, but the fans will still stick by him. I mean, he's one of the only guys I've seen stand face to face with Daniel Bryan, and the fans booed Daniel Bryan because he tried to fire him. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I saw Daniel Bryan booed.
No, not at all. Yes, I think that speaks volumes, and I totally agree. I think he could come off as a rebellious character, similar to CM Punk. I think that he's going to get the respect thing going on right there. So that's going to be interesting to see what kind of reaction happens at WrestleMania, because to be honest with you, it doesn't matter what they do up until this point. He could listen when it's like Hulk Hogan when he tried to run down the Rock before that match in a freaking lorry, a truck, nearly like took his life. Toronto still cheered massively Hulk Hogan. So sometimes it doesn't matter what you do before WrestleMania. The day WrestleMania comes, the fans turn up and they say, we're cheering AJ Styles. So it makes no odds showing the videos and all the rest. It's not going to change people's minds, trust me. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets delivered. And I'm not happy with it. I think they definitely could have done more with AJ here. I can only hope that there's something I don't know about, and perhaps this is going to be made into something spectacular for AJ. But I just fear on this one, and but we'll have to see. Let's hope something works out good. So thank you there for your question, DX1. And now next question is from Kendall. And he's a Goldberg fan here, Matt. Goldberg is the man. I don't get the hate you have for him. To me, he's the best thing in WWE right now. He's intense, he's unstoppable, unbeatable, and putting ratings up. Goldberg. So, yep, there's Kendall's point there, Matt. There is some heavy Goldberg fans. I'll tell you that much. I had a lot of heat from last week's show about Goldberg. So yeah, all right. I do know there's a lot of Goldberg listeners now. Trust me. Just my opinion, folks. Remember that. Don't get so worked up. But yeah, let's hear from you as well, because it's always good to hear the other side of things. And of course, if there are Roman fans out there, email us in. Don't be shy. We'll see what we can get. But yes, it does seem, Matt, that Goldberg does have somewhat of a following, a cult following going on when he's around.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
I won't deny that he has his place in WWE and that, he does help boost up the ratings. Yeah. It's just, coming in at that kind of advanced stage at the very, very top level, it's just kind of hard to swallow when you think of people like CM Punk who should be there, left because of that exact reason.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, Stay Lucky is back with us. Any news on Maro? Heard this guy has some serious mental health issues that he has to deal with on a daily basis. This could be the real reason he was off screen. Do you think we will see him back on our screen this week? If not, how will WWE handle this? Matt, I'm sure you heard about the news, and there were a lot of stories breaking. There were some jibes on Twitter from JBL and stuff like that. What's your making of it, Matt? And do you expect to see him back this week on SmackDown?
Yeah, I mean, he's quite a professional kind of guy. I don't think he really want to take off more time than is absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, like on SmackDown, we've seen a 4-man commentary team.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can survive when someone is off for a short term kind of time. And JBL he's done it in a 2-man team before, so
yeah.
I'm sure they'd be fine, really, with a man down. But I would miss him there though, because he does have a lot of input into the actual he gives us insight into the names of the moves, he calls them play by play, which is something they haven't done for quite a long time.
Sure, and I particularly want to see him for WrestleMania, if I'm honest. So I want Mamma Mia at WrestleMania for sure. And Stay Lucky always finishes with PS. Stay Lucky, we will. Damo now. What do you think to the idea of Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather? Also, when does Brock's contract expire? So let's start with the first thing. It's not exactly a small feat here. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, Matt. It's been a lot of talk about this for a lot of months, but now it seems to have taken a lot of traction, Matt. With this whole thing potentially pulling off, we've now got networked Fox being involved, that they will be the ones that would televise it. This thing now, Matt, it looks more real than ever. Of course, it's not official, there's no announcement, but the idea of that fight, Matt, a while ago was very much fantasy, shall we say, and you just couldn't imagine these two huge egos in fighters and all the rest of it sort of agreeing some sort of deal, a fee where they're both going to be pleased and happy with how it would work. But apparently they've both agreed that it should be in Vegas. They've got sponsors and tremendous mega deals already there. As far as the sort of the thing it would become, Matt, would this be arguably one of the biggest draws in combat history? Would you imagine?
Yeah, I would definitely imagine that. McGregor's reached stratospheric fame through UFC, and Mayweather has been one of the most dominant boxers that has been seen for quite some time.
Yeah.
So I have no doubts that this kind of cross-promotional kind of thing, boxing's still got a huge following, and UFC, is just really taken off lately. So when these two kind of worlds collide, I wouldn't know anybody who's a fan of either sport that wouldn't want to see this, because you're going to get something really unique, really special. How many times can you say this kind of thing has been done before? Only a kind of handful of times when it's actually been at this kind of superstar level. And, it's crazy because the amount of money these guys are going to make from it is going to be ridiculous anyway. So, they're no stranger to actually knowing how to make some cash. And, this kind of match, I've got to say, it would get me buying it even, and I don't watch too much boxing, and I only watch the main UFC kind of ones. So, but for me, Conor McGregor and Mayweather are a big enough draw for both promotions to make me just want to straight away see it.
Yeah, the amount of money this would make they'd pocket would be off the radar. I think be stratospheric, I would imagine, because of course the one thing that with Floyd Mayweather is, of course, he doesn't need a promoter. He promotes himself, and that's why he pockets quite a lot of it. If you think back to his Pacquiao fight, that made but even before the fight took place, he was already 200 million up. So God knows what this would make for both guys. But I know people have been saying, Conor McGregor in a boxing fight has no right to be there, and vice versa with Mayweather in a cage. But Conor McGregor is Conor McGregor. He's got that fighter's instinct. He's a younger fighter, and he seems to want to make history. That seems to be what he's about. And to be honest with you, you don't blame him for wanting to do this, because he's called out arguably, well, he is the best, pound for pound at the moment boxer around is Floyd Mayweather. 49-0 is no joke. That's for sure. There's no way you're a lucky fighter like that. So, he's going in against the best. He's not even thinking to himself, Matt, I'll have a warm-up match against somebody else. He just wants to go straight in for the biggest, baddest, meanest guys. At 49 other of his opponents have not even, had a chance of even getting anywhere close to him. So it was a big, tall ask, no doubt about it. But the thing is, as far as the show goes, this thing is going to sell like hotcakes. I mean, it will be the biggest thing on the planet. It will certainly, it will be a huge wave over WWE at that time. And if this gets made, doesn't matter what's on WWE, including possibly even WrestleMania. That WrestleMania would be very small in comparison to this fight. So this one would be the one. Two huge names like that, and for Conor McGregor, Matt, I guess arguably you could say UFC's is kind of what is there left for him to do there currently, and maybe he thinks the only way is to do this fight with Floyd Mayweather. Maybe he's just looking at his legacy and thinking this is the way to go now, rather than let it slip. And Floyd does. I mean, Floyd was retired anyway, but before he gets even older, to do the fight whilst they still can, I guess.
Yeah, completely agree with that. These things don't come around in life too often. And when will the next superstar boxer like Mayweather come around? You never know. So, yeah, better take that while you can. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with you. Like, this legacy he's left is already enormous, And if he does this, and if he wins, a lot of people are expecting, like, stepping into a boxing ring, you're stepping into Mayweather's kind of territory. But if he wins, man, he could be considered one of the best fighters of all time.
Oh, that would be humongous, Mark. I couldn't imagine. Humongous. And your other part there, Damo, to Brock's contract. Yeah, Brock's contract is very similar to what happened a couple of years ago, where you'll remember it was just coming up to expire. Well, what happens now is WrestleMania 34, literally a week later, and he's expired. So that's how long he's got in WWE. So he's got like another year. But, does he hang around after that? I don't know. Brock is a very, very savvy negotiator. Let's put it that way. Like last time he was telling people he was, talking with UFC. And, look what happened there. But he signed with WWE, and then, he even done the one-off fight. So, listen, the thing with Brock Lesnar, he's still got incredible name power. And even at his age, he's always going to be wanted. You never know where what his stock will get. His name power has still got a lot of momentum in UFC. So we'll have to see on that one. But it's good to know that Brock will be around, and I've heard that he's going to have a lot more dates added in his last year. So he's actually added more and more dates as he's stayed in WWE. So which I think is a good thing. Potentially. Okay, Matt, last question now, and it's from our old favourite. Yep, you've guessed it. Jimbo, wrestler, squad number 9, he's back. Hello, guys, I'm back. I think it's going to happen. Roman turns heel at Mania. It's going to be one of the biggest talking points coming off and out of Mania. I see Brock winning the title, and I see Mania 34, Roman challenging Brock. Also, Big Cass winning the Battle Royal this year and being a breakout star, and him being groomed into the main event, ready for post-Mania 34 to be Roman's biggest rival. Tell me what you think. Great show, guys, and I have catched up with your old podcast. Good to hear, Jimbo. Good to have you back. Matt, he's thinking very far ahead here, isn't he? WrestleMania 34.
Yeah, I mean, I like that kind of thinking.
Is that something that potentially could happen, do you think?
Well, we say it all the time, we're dying for this Roman turn, we've been waiting a long time.
Get on
now.
with it.
But, if we had a quid for every time that we said like we was waiting for this to happen, we could be quite rich by now. But I am still waiting